Good evening.
Knitting is very healthy in many ways. In fact, the New York Times even said, and I quote, knitting and crocheting can lower your heart rate, blood pressure, reduce harmful blood levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Learning how to knit is a very valuable life skill that can help you in many ways. So, as you can see, knitting can also help you be a happier person. So, I'm going to teach and demonstrate to you today how all the materials you need, the fundamentals of knitting, and the basic stitch that you need to know on how to knit. The first thing you need is the materials, and the first one you need is yarn. So you can get the yarn at Joann's or Michael's or even Walmart if you want to go the cheaper route. And there's all sorts of different colors you can pick from, and there's different thicknesses. And the second thing you need is the knitting needles, and you'll know what size knitting needle you need because on the yarn there's a label that will tell you what size knitting needle that you need and what yarn to use with it. And you don't have to get a certain size knitting needle. You can get whatever you're comfortable with and what you like most for beginners. Okay, so next you have to decide what you want to make. So you can make a variety of things when you're knitting. You can make scarves, blankets, hats, sweaters, anything you want, socks. There's so many things that you can make for yourself instead of buying them. So you can save yourself a little money, okay? The spruce says that it's a good idea to start with something small and flat that doesn't require a lot of shaping. So since you're just going to be a beginner, you shouldn't try to overwhelm yourself with some huge project. And so before you start, there's some important fundamentals of knitting that you need to know. First, you got to relax because you want to have loose stitches, because if they're too tight, you're not going to be able to really work with the yarn and the fabric, and your blanket's going to come out really weird looking. And the second thing to know is that you need to just go with the flow and relax. So again, it's not real tight and you got to work with it. And Sheep and Stitch actually said, and I quote, rhythmic and repetitive movements make knitters find that they can zone out. So as you can see, it's very relaxing. And this is also why it's important to pick the correct yarn so you're comfortable with it and you can relax. So finally, we're going to learn the basic stitch, and it's called the knit stitch, and the spruce says that it forms the foundation for the more advanced stitches that you learn like down the road. So it's important to get this one down. And so the first thing you need to know, so this is like gonna be your blanket, is your left versus your right. And so I'm gonna be doing this with my right and my left. So with your right hand, it needs to be, you need to have in your right hand the one with the yarn that's connected to the ball, and then in your left hand is just the other side. And so after you get that, then it's kind of just like a process that you'll use, and I just repeat in my head under, loop, and then back through. So you just go under like that, and then you use your right hand and you loop it around, and then you just pull it through, and you have a stitch just like that. And then what you'll do is you'll just keep repeating that under loop and pull through process for the whole entire blanket, or this like row rather, and then you'll create a row, and this is what it'll look like eventually when you have a bunch of different rows all together. So as you can see, learning how to knit is a valuable life skill that can help you in many areas of your life. It's very relaxing, and knitting stitches is a lot of fun.